the beautiful and lovely Debbie Wasserman Schultz. After that, we're going to talk to Anton Wallman, who wrote a much talked about piece on thestreet.com called Here's How Romney Can Beat Obama. And that won't be for another half hour, so you have time to Google it while you listen to the show if you're doing so at home. Anyhow, let me now welcome in studio my co-host today, Bob Guzzardi, who is the editor of the Liberty Blog, thelibertyblog.org, and he is going to talk about the latest silliness by the local left-wing paper masquerading as a Jewish paper, the Jewish Exponent, and they've recently, I guess, tried to make the holiday Lag BaOmer into something like Lag BaObamacare. Sorry. Anyhow, Bob, welcome.
The Jewish Exponent had an editorial this week by a Rabbi Knopf, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's the assistant rabbi over at Har Zion. And Rabbi Knopf made the argument that counting the Omer is it leads us to the conclusion that we have to support Obamacare. In my opinion, this is a perversion of the counting the Omer, which has nothing whatsoever to do with even collectivism. But his argument is that counting the Omer is a community activity, and therefore, because it is communal, therefore it should be supportive of a collectivist solution to health care. He conflates communal with collectivism, conflates communal with a coerced collectivism, conflates communal with statism.
You really have to read it to believe it, and you encourage people to see it.
It's hard to take because I've read their views before, and not the Orthodox interpretation. And if you want that, there are places to get it. But the Jewish Exponent is not it, and unfortunately, it gives you such a superficial and shallow view of the richness of Judaism that you really back away from it. But in this particular case, he's making the case, and the point I want to make is that Judaism is a religion of individuals. We are always told that we were individually coming out of Mitzrayim, out of the constraints of Egypt, and out of the constraints of slavery. Constraint is coercion. It's the coerced constraint of slavery. Coercion is not what Judaism is about. Coercion is antithetical to the message of Sinai, which is a message to each individual person that you are to follow God's law, follow the 10 statements of Sinai, the mitzvot if you're Jewish, the Noahide laws if you're not. But these are individual responsibility, individual mandates to an individual. It is not a collectivist mandate, and there is no mandate whatsoever that I can see where the government, the king, the state is to impose a religious belief on anybody. In fact, that's what gets everybody into trouble. It happened to Christianity. It's happened to Islam. It even has happened during the Hasmonean period to the Jews. And hopefully we have learned our lesson, but apparently not. So I want to make the point that what you're reading in the Exponent is using the words of Torah, using the words of the Jewish tradition to justify a political and economic solution to a problem rather than the free market solution. Communities are built, in my opinion, on cooperation, on voluntary free cooperation by free individuals. Communities are not built by coercion. And that is what the collectivist philosophy in all its forms, including communism with a small c, fascism with a small f, socialism with a small s. They are all manifestations of a coerced collectivism, statism, power centralized in a few people, power and wealth, in the case of socialism, communism, and fascism, in a few people. It is completely antithetical to the limited government philosophy of the American Constitution, which was innovative in its time, and it remains the centerpiece of limited government and free individuals.
I get a kick out of it because, first of all, Knopf is my great-grandmother's maiden name, and my father grew up going, or really not going, to Har Zion, where his family belonged. And I just can't help thinking, they're so generous with other people's money. Har Zion probably has the highest dues, highest prices for high holiday tickets of any synagogue in the area. How much of that money could go to paying for health care for the less fortunate?
Well, I can tell you that Har Zion is not Republican-friendly territory. It's not conservative-friendly territory, and for the Exponent to essentially use the Exponent as an advertising vehicle for Obamacare is something that is skirting on the edge of something that's not very nice.
Well, the Exponent gets its sense of balance by letters to the editor by people who are outraged by what they publish as editorials and as, quote, news. And it seems like you may have a letter to the editor. We'll see this Thursday.
Well, Lisa Hosteen said that she would print a letter that I wrote along with my colleague, Dr. Bob Sklaroff. So we will see whether it does appear, and I hopefully you will read the letters to the editor. And my number is Bob Guzzardi at bobguzzardi.com if you want to comment to me.